Last time actually we started with you know, understanding animation. I told you that we are following unit 3, and in unit 3 you see there is a player who needs to jump, okay, in a 2D platformer game, and there are some animations. Now I just have this blank prototype 3. There is nothing, no code. Okay, if you see here, we have just the character, the particles. So what I did, I created a new project, okay, just empty 3D project, and then I imported the prototype 3. I already have prototype 3 with me, so in the window package manager, I can see that within this project, if I see first that my assets are there, okay, and in the assets I have prototype 3, run and jump, okay, so I import it, and when I import it, actually I will see all those things over here. Okay, we'll see. Okay, just wait. There is one problem, but anyways, let's see. So this is what you will do. Create new project, then import prototype 3. If you don't see prototype 3 in the assets, okay, then actually it's because you don't have it installed from the first lesson, okay? So you can go to the unit 3.1, okay, and there they will tell you that what is the location of prototype 3, or even you can search in the Unity store, okay? So this is the prototype 3 starter file. You can download it from here, and then this is how I imported it into here. So this is the import. You can see everything I import here, okay, in German. Okay, so I have imported. Now there was one problem with me because of version differences, and maybe you have the same problem. You can see it says that advertisement.dll was not loaded due to errors, okay? So I can resolve this problem by going back to, you see, package manager, okay, and then I click on in project. So I have all the packages in this project, and the problem is with the advertisements, okay, with the ads. It needs to be updated. So one way is to update it, okay, that may solve the problem, or because I don't need ads in this game, okay, this is just, you see, an example project, so I will remove that. I don't need it, so it will recompile everything if there are any scripts, and let's hope that it works. So this error should go away if this is gone. Okay, so I have finished this. Okay, the error is still there, although we have removed this thing. So another way is to go, if you have such problems in general, you can have the build and run. So that will build the project from 0. Okay, remove everything, and okay, now there is build method exception. There is something else. Okay, what is that problem? We need to see. I don't remember exactly what could that be, but it has to do with, you see, the ads I removed, so they got a problem. So let me see once again. Okay, so package manager. Okay, and analytics library, they need to be updated. So most probably it's because of, you know, the version mismatch, because I have one Unity version and the prototype I downloaded, it was for another version. Okay, so this is 2020 and the prototype was actually developed for 20, you know, if you see here. So here you can see that it was 2020 project itself, so 2018.4 or higher. Okay, so it is higher, but it is possible that there is a problem mismatch between 2018 and my version, which is 2020. Okay, so how can we solve it? Let's see. If I play this, okay, it has played, no error, it's totally fine. So I will stop it and the error is gone. Okay, so you see that just after playing even, the error is already gone, which was here before. Okay, so this is how you have sometimes strange errors, and you need to test with hit and trial, and they will be removed. So my scene is prototype 3. Here you can see, okay, this is prototype 3. And what else do I have is, I need to, we are talking about, you know, animation. So let's have some person, some character imported. Okay, So I can have road worker. Let me import the road worker Brown just for the sake. So I can import it here. Okay, and it will be at the default position of 0, 0, 0. Okay, 0, 0, 0, and it's facing the, the other was facing Z. By default it is facing Z. Okay, and we have arranged the camera such as X is on the right side. Okay, so we have changed our coordinates, our camera view. So I can go out and see things from here. So this is now my Z axis. Okay, and that's all. Okay, so I can click on F to focus on this, and then let's see, I will move this up. Okay, and I will move this line here, zoom out, see how this works over here. Okay, so let me move further. Okay, okay, move down. Okay, so I have this character, and this character is seeing into the camera. I need to rotate it on the right side. Okay. So I will rotate it, if I want this character to look at the right side, what should I do? Can you tell me, anyone, what should I do if I want this character to look at the right side? Yes, what should I do? Okay, what type of rotation should I make so that it is, looking on the right side? Yes.
Doctor, 90-degree, right?
90-degree where? In which axis? Because I have, you see, the rotation is X, Y, and Z.
I don't see it. I think X axis, right, Doctor?
Okay, anyone else? Okay, so he says, Abdullah says this was Abdullah, or who said?
Muhammad.
Okay,
Oh.
Muhammad Al-Hafiz. Okay, yeah. So if I do on x-axis, yes.
We use rotate tool.
Yeah, we will use rotate tool. Okay, we can do it from here. We can use rotate tool, or we can do it from here. Both ways are fine. But which rotate? How?
I think Y. No. X.
You need to understand this. Yeah, you are confused, and I even asked you this in the exam, and you're still confused. Okay, the thing is that you see, if I just have my back tool here, how do I rotate? You see, he will rotate on the right side. So which axis should it be? It should be the y-axis, this one. Okay, if I rotate on x-axis, which is the red one, okay, so if I click on the red one, it is like this. This is the x-axis, okay? On z1, it is rotating like this, okay? And on y-axis, the green one, it is rotating like this. Okay, so one way is to do like this, but that's not exactly, we are sure if it's fine or not. So best thing is to use this transform here. We don't want to rotate on x, so that is 0. We don't want to, okay, we want to rotate it on y. You see it's 80, but that's 80 is not good. We know it should be 90. So I make it 90, and on z axis it is 0. Is there any question? Do you understand this or not? Okay, I hope you understand this point, that why do we rotate on y-axis and how does it work. Okay, now what we want to do is that if we play the game, of course nothing is going to happen because there is no code. Okay, and we want to understand the animation. Now the first thing is there is something changed, so it changed from one state to another. Let's see why did it change. Okay, so I click here, it's in this position. Okay, and then I click on the play button and it changed its position, and it had hands down. Do you remember why is it like this? We discussed this yesterday. Yes, what do you think? Why, when I played it, its hands are down, but if I stop, the default state is like this? Why? Any idea?
Doctor, the voice is. I can't hear you good. Can you repeat the question, please?
Okay, everyone else, is it problem with my voice or is it maybe Muhammad's problem? Do you hear me, the remaining? Is it fine? Do you hear me? Is it good or is there any problem?
Yes. Voice is
Okay,
good.
so maybe Muhammad, there is some problem. Let me repeat the question. The question is that, look, this is when I don't start the game, okay? Now, when I actually click on the start button, we have not done any coding, but this player, his hands, they become down, okay? Like he changed his position or he changed his behavior, whatever you call it, okay? So the character has changed, okay? Why? We discussed this last time. Why did this happen?
Because
Maybe Doctor, physics of the game, physics of the person.
no,
No, it's not about physics.
because animation, doctor. And
Yeah, so what should I do? Where should I go? So if I click this, let me rename this as a player. Okay, that's easy. We can know. Rename this as player. So it's a short name. Okay, and then we have the animator actually here. Okay, so we have the controller. I can double click on that actually. Okay, so this is defined in animation. Okay, the simple character animation is defined, and this is general animation, and this is applied to all those characters. Okay, so we apply this animation. How? Because if you see this character, if I click on the player, okay, so it has this controller. So that is the animation controller, which actually defines the things. Now, when I double clicked it, it opened this animator. Here you can see, and there are two, tabs on this: the parameters tab and the layers tab. Okay, right now it's in the movement tab, and in the movement tab there is something which is you see moving constantly. What is the idle thing? So actually it is repeating in the idle state. Why do we have the idle state? Because when we start the game, we have the entry state. Okay, and it says that from entry state it must go into the idle state. Okay, if I click on this transition, so there is nothing because entry state must go somewhere. So we say that it should go to the idle state. Now let's say I don't want to go to the idle state. Let's say I say go to the run state. Okay, so I can right click here and I will say that this is the default state. Okay, so you will see that it went to the run state, but from run again it went to the idle state. Why? We will check that. Okay, I will explain why we went to the run state, but from run state again it went automatically to the idle state. Okay, so there is a reason for that, and we will find this is based on the condition. So the question was, why did it make those hands down? Because we went from entry into the idle. So if I go to the this is my default state, so you see it is the idle one. And why is idle like this? So if I double click on the idle, okay, I double click on it and I click on this, so you see there is some movement, but very small movement. Okay, he is moving. Okay, you see this character is moving. Same thing is here. If I zoom in onto this player in the scene, okay, let me click on the player and F. So you may be seeing that he is moving, but very, very slowly. Okay, he is moving, but very slowly. That is actually the idle state. Now this movement on the hat, you can see there is the movement. Okay, so that is the idle state, and it went into idle state because in our animator we have defined for the movement that when we start this game, so from the entry state it will go into the idle state. Okay, now how do we go into the walk static state? Okay, so what is walk static? So if I double click on this walk static, I can play this animation here, and this will be walk static, which means that the player will be walking on its own place. But right now it's not working. We should have something. Okay, we should have a condition so that it goes from the idle state to the walk static state. Okay, so how does it go from the idle state to walk static state? We see this condition. Okay, this condition goes from idle to walk static, and there this transition actually has those conditions. It says that if these things are true, then we will move to this state. Okay, if static B is true, and if speed is greater than 0.25. Okay, these are two variables. And where do I have variables? These variables are in the parameters. So we see the speed f is the first one, which is 0. And this condition requires that the speed should be greater than 0.25. Similarly, there is static B. Okay, so if the static B is true, which is true, okay, one condition is true, but the second condition of 0.25 is not true. Okay, even if I make it 0.25, okay, it will not be moving. Why? Because it's not greater than 0.25. We need to have greater than 0.25. So if I make it just even 0.26, let's say, you see, it has made a transition to this walk state. Okay, so now this person is walking and it's repeated again and again. Okay, now let's see about run static. What are the conditions? So this is my run static, and if I click on the transition from walk to run, then here the only condition is that the speed must be greater than 0.5. Now my speed is 0.26. If I make it 0.5, it will remain static, but as soon as I make it more than 0.5, okay, then it will start moving. Okay, so let me make it 0.6, for example. Okay, so you see now it has moved from walk static to run static. Okay, so that's how it's working, the transition, and this is known as the transition diagram, or the state transition diagram, and we move from one state to another state with some conditions, and these conditions have been set by us. Okay, now if I move, instead of 0.6, if I make it 1, does it make any change? Well, nothing. If I make it 5, well, the speed doesn't change. Okay, this is just a variable which will indicate that based upon this value, should I make a transition or not? Okay, if you want to actually change the speed of this person, okay, now the speed f is the condition I told you, and there are two conditions. If it is less than 0.5, less than or equal to 0.5, it will be idle. Okay, now the idle doesn't have, you see, anything. They don't have any condition. The only condition for idle is that once I start the game, once I'm in the entry state, okay, and from the entry, it should go to the idle. That's the only thing. Now from idle, where should I go? It depends on the value. Okay, from idle, I go to walk static if this value of, speed is greater than 0.25, and I can change this. I have defined, I can make it 0.1, I can make it 0. So let's say I say that whenever the speed value is greater than 0, okay, you see now it is idle. So if it is greater than 0, then what will happen? Here we say that it should go to walk static greater than 0, and the speed value is reset to 0 automatically. Okay, now let me make it, for example, 1. So we made to walk static, but then also run static because it's true for 1. If it's 0.1, then it will be walking. You can see this is strange. 0.1, it's idle, and then from idle it moves to walk static. This is a confusion. You see, how is it walking? Idle, and then this thing. Okay, why is it this? Because from walk static it is going back to idle. Why is it going back to idle? Because if you see this transition, in this transition, okay, in the reverse one, we say that if it's less than 2.5, so there is now continuous, you see, moving around between the two. Okay, my speed is 0.1. In the idle transition from idle to walk, I say that if it's more than 0, it should go here. So yes, it's more than 0, it comes here. But here, the transition says that if it's less than 0.25, you should go to idle. So it's confused between the two. Okay, the value is confusing, and that's not a good value. Okay, I should not make this as 0. Okay, it should be 0.25 so that there is no confusion, and it goes from the idle state to, you see, 0.3, for example, to the walk state and it remains in this state. So that's very, very important that you understand the values of this variable. Now, I was telling you that by changing this, we only change the states, okay? But it does not change the actual animation speed. Okay, now if I click on the walk static, here see the, so there is motion, okay, which is here. You can see the static animations has its own definition of rules. So walk static is defined here. That is a type of motion. And I can have, in the walk static, I can have other types of motion. Okay, so I don't care about that right now. It's the only this type of motion. And I can define my own, new states and have these things different, okay? But what is important right now is the speed. So the speed is 1, and that is the speed of animation. So if I make it 1.5, what will happen? 1.5. Okay, now actually when I change something here, it resets that to 0. So because I want to walk static, okay, so let me make it 0.5 or 0.4, whatever. Okay, so it's now with the speed of 1.5. Okay, you can see it's now with the speed of 1.5. Okay, so if I make it 2 again, but it changes to 0, so let me make it 0.5. Okay, so you see with the 2, this is even faster. Okay, this is how it works. Okay, so you see this has been very faster. So let me make it back to 1 and make it to 0.5. Okay, so it's walking. Similarly for run, this is how it is running. The speed is 1. So if I increase the speed to 2.68, and for run I have something 0. You see, this is running very, very fast. Okay, so these two things, the condition here, the speed here, and the third thing is actually the transition. Okay, what is the condition on the transition that is defined? Okay, so now I will stop it. So they will come back to original position. The speed, you see, the speed was actually 0. So now one more thing. Let me play this once again. Okay, and we see the condition for, so it's idle because speed is this. Let me make the 1. Okay, and let me make this to 1.5. Okay, once again 1. Okay, so this is running, normal running. Okay, what's the difference between run static and run? Let's see. Okay, so in run, you see this can have transition from run to walk, okay, and from run to idle. These are 2 transitions from here. That is what is shown here. Okay, but how do we go to run? So we cannot go from run static to run. We can go from idle to run. Let's check this transition from idle to run. Here, it's also the speed is greater than 0.5, but the difference is that the static must be false. Okay, now what is static? It means at the same place. Okay, and static B means it's a Boolean. Speed F means speed has a float value. Okay, so if the speed value is more than 0.5, which is true here, okay, but the static B is not true, it is false, and here we can see the static B is true. Okay, what will happen if I make it false? What do you think? If I make it false, will it go to run or not? What do you think? Because if I make this false, then here this will be true, static B will be false. Should it start running in this direction or not? Hurry up, tell me.
Yes, doctor.
Okay, let me make this false, and nothing happened. Why? Do you know why? Because it will only move to run from idle, but we are not idle. We are in run static, and there is no transition from here to here. Okay, if I want to move, let's say from run static to run, there must be a transition. So let me add a transition here, make transition, and make it here. And by default, when it starts, it's idle, so it restarts every time. I make this 1, and it's running. But as soon as it started running, it's also made a transition to this, and now you can see that it just went off our screen. And where is that now? Let's see. Okay. Oh, it's running in the air. Okay. So what we got from here is that if you see there is no transition, it will not work. And we created a transition over here. Okay, we created a transition from run static to run, so that's why it started running. So once again, what will happen now? If I start this game again, you see from entry, it will go into where? It will go into the idle. Okay, and then we will check the condition. The condition now, right now, it's 0 speed. Let me make this before start, let me make it 1. Okay, so when I start now, the condition will be 1. What's the value of static B? Static B is true. Okay, so when we see this, if static B is true and it's greater than 5, it will go to run static. Okay, so if I start, so it will be running static. Okay, and why did it move here? Okay, why did it move? Because from run static to here, the condition was okay, so there was we didn't make any condition here. You can see we did not make any condition, so it automatically moved from here. There should be a condition. Okay, if you don't make any condition, and if I play it, you can see it will go to idle, then here, and then here soon. Okay, you see? Okay, because there is no condition, so from this stage, as soon as it comes here, it should be here. Now this, we should add a condition here. Okay, the difference between the run state and this state should be that when we want to come from idle to run, okay, so it is greater than 0.5, but the static B must be true. And if we want to run from static to run, we say we will add a new condition, and we will say that the static B, okay, let me write, static B must be false. Okay, so it will only move from run static to run when this is false. Okay, and because this is true, so it will not run. Let me start. Okay, so it's running. Now, if I make this false, okay, what will happen? The condition of false will be true and it should start running. Okay, so let me see, and it has started running and it is within this state. Okay, now from run, how can I go back to, for example, walk? Okay, for walk, the condition is that the speed must be less than 0.5. So if the player is running and I change the speed to 0.5, then actually what will happen? It will start the walking condition and it will continue walk unless there is something. So from walk, it will go to idle if the speed is less than 0.25. So let's check this way. Okay, so let me start first. The static B is true. So it's like this. Then let me remove the static B, make it false. It will start walking. And then I will reduce the speed to 0.5 and see what happens. So we disable this condition. It's running and we made it 0.5. So it's walking now. Okay. So this is how it works. And if it's less than, you see 0.25. So it is now in the idle state. Once again, let me make it 1. So it will start running. Now this time it went into this way, not this way. Why? Because my run static was false. So it had this thing. Okay. So here you see if the run static is false, it will come here. If the run static is true, it will come on the left side. Okay. Any question?
No, thank you, Doctor.
Okay, so with this, we understand the transitions. One more thing, in the layers, okay, and even the parameters, for example, what we can do is static B, 1, okay, let me start this, and I want to make you one more thing, tell you one more thing, okay. So this is about running, okay, and as you know that I can reduce the speed of this running by changing this from 1.5 to even, for example, 0.5. So that will be running very, very slow. Okay, that is running very slow now. Now here you see there are some more things, okay, which we have defined. Head horizontal F is 0. So you see where he is looking. He is looking straight. If I make this 1, he is looking at the camera. Okay, if I make this less than 0, maybe minus 0.1, no, it's not working. If I make it -1, it is looking on the other side. Okay, So it means that the head position, if it is 0, okay, it will be looking straight. 1 means it is looking towards the camera. -1 means it is looking towards its left. Okay, so we can see this if we go to, layers, and we click on head. Okay, then you can see that by default it's in the head position. Okay, but wait, yeah. So it's the body. It's fine. No, I wanted to show you something. Okay, so this is the idles. Okay, now it's not idle. Okay, and these are the things. So from the idle, I can have also check watch. I hope it works. Okay, check watch. So how do we go to idle from idle check watch? If you see, animation unit equals 3. Okay, so there are animation units and it has different values. So in the parameter we have, okay, we have not defined it. Okay, so we can define, animation int, animation int is 0. So where is animation int 0? Let me stop this and understand this. Okay, so I have idle. From idle to not idle, I have the speed. Okay, that will be not idle. Then I had this crossed arms. It has the animation int equal to 1. Okay, so if I start with animation int equal to 1, and let's say this is 0 initially. Okay, so what will happen? He's looking at watch. See, this is Neil. He's looking at his watch. Okay, so 2 is what? Standing like this. Okay, animation unit 2. And 3 is again looking at watch, again looking at watch. Okay, 4. Okay, there is nothing in 4 and 5. Okay, he's coughing, I think. Okay, so these are different values. Okay, I will stop here. And if you have any question, you can ask me. I will stop the recording and I will take the attendance very quickly.